I'm showing my view of St. Louis, whereas a photograph is just photographing it. I can edit and make it the way I want it. At one time, I didn't have the city building here. At one time, I used to have Busch Stadium. Busch Stadium's gone where it used to be, and things have really changed. I am Marilynne Bradley. I'm an artist. I did all the illustrations for the book St. Louis in watercolor. Here is what I like. This is the one over at Faust Park.
Marilynne Bradley has been painting for over 60 years. Her favorite subject is St. Louis. Her first published book in 2008 was all about the city's architecture. This book, St. Louis in Watercolor, Living History in the Gateway City, digs into its past and its present.
This started out in St. Louis, and the bottle itself has evolved and moved from place to place. There was more than one bottle. So this one is downtown near the Arch, and it's one of the last left. And this all came from the World's Fair. I don't know if everybody knows that U-City really began because of the World's Fair.
There are over 100 paintings in the book, each with a story. Forest Park is younger than New York's Central Park, but 500 acres larger. The Boathouse Lake dates back to 1894, and we have 6,000 people to thank for digging it by hand for $1 a day. Eat Right on Choteau Avenue has been around since 1935. The diner was renovated in 2018, but COVID closed it completely.
The Lamp, naturally, everybody knows that it's haunted, but you can stay overnight. I don't know if people realize it. It's a guest house. This particular building has so much history. It was next door to the Demonel house. Demonel goes all the way back to Choteau, the same family. So the Lamps were next to it. But there has been a lot of suicides in the family for here, and even in this particular building. And I think that's why they consider this a ghost house.
She paints with watercolors, I paint with words.
Jennifer Grote-Peter is a wordsmith. She authored the stories in the book. Everyone knows St. Louis is rich in aviation history, but did you know that Charles Lindbergh actually got his start on a mail route from St. Louis to Chicago in a plane housed right here at the Historic Aircraft Restoration Museum?
And you look at the aircraft behind us and you may not realize that those shiny wings are fabric. You're in a fabric airplane. The scarf is blowing, trying to keep the castor oil off of your face, and then you ingest this castor oil, and we won't go into what that does to you later, but they don't cover it in flight school.
One of the stories reads like a true crime podcast. Webster Groves was founded on a homicide way back in 1896. One day, a man named Bertram got off the train from Chicago. A young teenager offered to help him with his luggage. After taking him to town, he stopped inside the local saloon to tell his friends of the well-dressed man with cash.
One of the boys suggested that they rob Bertram. And one of them had access to a gun, so he went home and got his gun. And they didn't know Bertram was also armed. And he shot one of them. So they shot back, and Bertram died on the spot.
At the time of the murder, Webster wasn't officially a town and had no police department.
The outrage continued in the town, and they're like, we need a police department. Let's be a town. So they incorporated as a city exclusively to hire police. And the second thing they did was start taxing saloons until they taxed them all out of business. And until about 2017, 2018, somewhere around there were no saloons in Webster.
What is now Laclede's Landing holds a lot of history. Its cobblestone streets are the only thing left from the original 1780 French settlement. As the urban legend goes, it also houses a haunted alley. Following the Great Fire of 1849, there was a cholera epidemic. People were dying in the streets. The cemeteries were full.
You've got nowhere to go with those bodies. So they started stacking them up in Clay Morgan's alley.
To this day, spirits, it is said, can be seen roaming the streets of St. Louis.
St. Louis has a beautiful future ahead of it, but we don't want to lose track of what we had. And I think that's what's important about the book. Marilynne tells a visual story, I give you a written story, but there's so many stories.